Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am reading Omnibus Volume 4 of One Piece, so Volume 10, 11 and 13. Hard to get a hold of right now, but I got it. And last time I ended up where I thought that I had covered most of live action, realized that the Arlong arc was not over, and I watched the live action anyway. So I have like a little review of that on my channel if you want to check that out. But basically, we are like in the middle of an arc, and I didn't really spoil myself because you always know that they're gonna make it, but also they changed the fights a lot from the live action to the manga, so I don't think I'm actually spoiled. I think it's fine. I'm very excited to continue. Last time I read it, I cried. Without further ado, I should just start this because I'm on sprint, so I need to reread. We are going in to volume 10. Which is okay, let's stand up, and we are on chapter 82, which is literally called okay, let's stand up. And yeah, I guess I am just gonna start here. It starts with Luffy gonna fight Arlong, or I assume that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, I don't know how long time it would take, but I will read and find out. So see you very soon with what I feel. Okay, so we basically just have Luffy being very mad because Nami cried, and he was like, you made our never gotta cry. Momo showed up, the like sea monster thingy, and I think he's attacking them. Luffy's mad because they upset Nami, and then he's using Gamgung Windmill, which looks really cool, and they're basically just fighting. I think that's just gonna be me in every chapter forward. I'm just gonna be like, they're basically just fighting. We're gonna fight Arlong, etc. So we're going to chapter 83, Luffy in black. Sounds ominous. Let's go. Okay, so Luffy with his attack did defeat like the sea beast thing and some other people, and I'm like, oh my god, and Arlong is not like super happy about it. Then they like race down the whole building, and then Luffy's feet are stuck in the ground, and I try to get him out, but he just stretches. And then Sanji is really badass as well. Arlong has obviously realized that Luffy is a Gum Gum man, so he literally just takes him and throws him into the ocean because he's like, I know that makes you weak, Sanji, and Zoro are supposed to jump after, but then they said they have to defeat the fisherman first, and that life will get him. And I'm like, well, is he not drowning meanwhile? But I guess they would be really fast. But yeah, that's basically what happened. It's funny, it's cute, it's the best. I am so emotionally attached to these people, and I've been there for like 4 seconds. It's so weird. But yeah, chapter 84 is zombie. The fight is still going. I forgot to say that Usopp ran onto the forest earlier because he was scared, so I assume that he's gonna do stuff there. We saw him in the end of this chapter screaming. And then we have Zoro fighting one who's like calls himself the second best horseman, and he's getting a bit owned because he's still wounded after the Mihawk fight. And then we have Sanji fighting with another dude. They are kicking each other. And then we had the villagers, the like officer dude and Nami's sister, like running in to help because they can see they're struggling. And then Luffy, he's at the bottom of the ocean, and hopefully he will be saved soon. The next chapter is chapter 85, 3 swords versus 6. Which doesn't sound good. Okay, so Zoro lost his 2 swords, as we know, to Mihawk, and then he got 2 more swords from like the people calling him brother. I literally keep forgetting their names. I was trying to check if they are like in the character thingy in the beginning. Are they here? They are not here. Well, it was like the one with Johnny and stuff, and they gave him their sword so that he could fight with his 3 sword style. He's fighting this octopus thingy that has 6 swords. This is why it's 6 versus 3 swords, and he manages to beat him because he is amazing. And he's my favorite character. And then Sanji also helps him in the end. And then why we have like the office dude and Nami's sister helping Luffy, who was like literally drowning. So yeah, that was cool and fun sword fights. Now we have chapter 86, Heroism versus Fishman Cruelty. So this chapter was Sanji's moment to shine because, as we know, Luffy is drowning. He jumps into the water to save him because Zoro cannot. He's really wounded. And then he stopped by one of the fishermen that wants to fight him, and like they're kicking each other under the water. Actually, Nami's sister and the village dude has stretched Luffy's head up above water so he can breathe, which is kind of like genius, but he's still stuck in like the rock with his feet. So Sanji was gonna like kick the rock but couldn't because he was in this fight, and he realizes that fishes can't breathe oxygen through their gills, so he he opens the gills or something, or the lungs, either or, so that air flows through them in the water, and then he kind of owns the fishman in water. So get owned, and then he is now on the surface breathing, and they're like, I can still take you, blah, 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 blah. But they're really shocked that Sanji can be so strong because he is a human and they are stronger fishmen. Now it's chapter 87. It's all over. Is it? Is it? I am expecting a long Luffy and Arlong fight, so we shall see. Okay, So in this chapter we go to Usopp, who ran away, who didn't want to die. He's pretending to be dead while like having ketchup on him. That is his blood. And then he realizes that he's being, well, a coward, not brave, not like the others, and raises up and is gonna fight the fishman, and he does it, and he like makes his like flask explode and whatever, and he's like really cool and manages to beat him, I think. Right before that, we still like saw them trying to get Luffy out of the water, and like Sanji wanted to go down there again, but it seemed like Arlong was gonna stop him. So yeah. Next chapter is called Die, which is my favorite word. So let's go. Okay, a lot of things is going on at once. First, we see Usopp being happy because he like had a big explosion and won his fight. Then we switch over to Arlong that is owning Sanji and Zoro. And then Nami is like, I'm tired of crying. And then she runs in, is like, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna kill you. And then he gives her an option to be like, he will save Coco Village. And like, if she agreed to join his crew again, but he needs to kill Zoro and Sanji and the people there. And then she said, no, let's fight you. And then the other people in the village can help because she said earlier that they couldn't help because then they will all die. Then Luffy's breathing again because they have like been pumping his chest with his head above the water. And Sanji wants to jump down to kick like the rock he's in. Zoro tells him that he only has 30 seconds left in him. And then Sanji's like, that's plenty. And then also the Swordsman that earlier fought Zoro that was defeated, but like he's like, do you guys really think that you will get away with this? And then he's waking up. Basically Arlong owned them a lot and he's like really kick-ass. But Zoro is wounded. So yeah. Okay, so that's what's going on. Chapter 89, trade-off. Things are working out. So as we saw one of like the octopus people going after Sanji in the water, and then Zoro lost while he's kind of defeated by Arlong. Like Arlong is holding him, he's gonna murder him, and he starts to laugh, and he's like, what? And he's like, well, if he lied still, the wound would probably have not opened. And then he thinks he's talking about himself because he can see that Zoro's wounded. But it turns out that it was the octopus dude. All his wounds like exposed to the water, so he can't like stop Sanji. And then Sanji kicks the rock, and now Luffy's free. And he already started beating on Arlong, and Arlong is like, was that supposed to do something? And he's like, yeah, I'm just warming up. But yeah, he's warming up. He's gonna do it. Oh, I love them so much. And now it's chapter 90. What can you do? Okay, volume 10 is already done. It went so fast. And we basically had Luffy beating around with Arlong, and Arlong is just talking about how superior the fishermen are. Luffy even takes up her swords and like swings them around, and he's like, I can't use a sword. But also because he says that he will be fine because he has help from his friends, and he's like, what does that matter? And then he says, I don't know how to use a sword, shark face. I don't know how to navigate either. I can't cook and I can't tell lies, and I can't live without help from a lot of people. And he's just like, well, then what can you do? And he's like, I can beat you. Oh, I can't help it. They are so precious. And yeah, he used one of Arlong's just like comrades when he was gonna like choo-choo his face with like a big choo-choo thing with teeth, and he's like, oh hey, I thought of something fun. And then the volume ended, and now we are heading towards volume 11, which is the Meanest Man in the East. And the first chapter is called, oh, there's the names of like Zoro's friends. It's Johnny and Yosaku. They are here in this one, but they weren't they in the last one? Did I just not spot them? Need to go back and double check now, since I tried to look for them earlier. They weren't there. I guess it's like who's important in the chapter, volume. And now we are on chapter 91, Darts, and we are really nearing the 100th chapter, which is, wow, that's really weird to think about. But let's continue. So Luffy's arm almost got chopped off by Chap's teeth, but he managed to get away. And then also used his teeth against him. He took like one of the teeth that he had inside his mouth, but he didn't manage to like chew through because he didn't have like a strong enough jaw. And now Arlong is going into the water and jumping up, and I'm like having like shark darts towards Luffy, but he's missing. And I want to like tell Luffy to retreat, but he's like, no, I'm gonna like stand here and knock him out. So we shall see how that goes. Now it's chapter 92, Happiness. Will we be happy though? I don't know. I don't know. In like the side chapters, we have like Papo and Kobe on their own adventures. That would happen in live action, I'm not sure. And the last ones we had like Buggy's crew going on like their adventures. But I don't know. We shall see later how that will affect stuff. But either way, let's go on with this chapter. Okay, so Luffy loses loads of cool abilities like shield and like spear and that, and he thinks he kills Arlong for a second, but he didn't. And now they are fighting even more because Arlong didn't even get wounded. He got in range, which means he's even more powerful than he already was. So that was great. Now he dragged them into the building, into the chart room where Nani had drawn a lot of different maps. And then he sees that one of the pens had blood on it. And he's like, do you think you could use Nami as well as me? Or says, and Luffy's like, use? He's like super mad. So yeah, the fight is still going strong. And now we're in chapter 93, which is going down. So Luffy made the whole building fall down because he realized that Nami hated being there and ruined all the charts of the whole building, and it all fell down. And everyone is like, you need to get away. And I was like, well, Luffy's still in there. It falls down, and it was very dramatic. Yeah, it looks really cool. And just the friendship. Her wearing his straw hat. No words of my emotions. It's so good and so emotionally attached. Okay, next chapter, 94, the other villain. And the building fell down, and everyone thought for a second that Luffy was crushed, but he was not. He's fine, but Arlong was defeated. Yay! So now they all celebrating. They're running out to tell them that Arlong Park has fallen, and they're all really happy. And now we had a little phone call in a little snail to one of the other, what's it called, say Marines, being like, the Straw Hat Pirate, he's not wanted. So I assume maybe we will get his wanted poster soon. His bounty poster is what I want to say. But yay, very fun. I guess we are done with that fight, which took half his volume. I can't believe I thought in the last one that we would be done with the Arlong arc. I didn't calculate this correctly. But yeah, chapter 95, Spin Pinwheel. Let's go. And now we are on the next day. We have the departure. They are leaving and they're waiting for Nami, which we see she's removing her, what's it called? Tattoo, getting a little pinwheel instead because, that's what her mother made for her. Luffy's also there for a second, being like, did someone die? Because they're saying goodbye on Bear's grave, and they're like, yeah. And then she's like, oh. Also, when Nami's gonna join on the ship, she's very late, so she's running through the crowd, and everyone was like, you're just gonna leave like this? And it turns out she stole all the wallets. But in theory, she gave them all the money she had set up. What was it? 10 million berries, 100 million berries. So I think she is allowed to rob them. And they were like, oh, she took us again. But it was funny. And now she's saying goodbye to them. And they are leaving the island. And we're going now to the Meanest Man in the east. So we shall see what this next arc brings us. Because in theory, for example, in live action, this is kind of where we end. So I'm curious to see what more the manga has. Is that I spoiled myself a bit, but it was still of course super fun to see the last fight because obviously it's different and longer, kept a lot of it similar. I'm just comparing a bit now because that's my first experience with it. But yeah, good times. And let's go. Who's the Meanest Man at sea? I don't know. They are on their little ship going out. I mean, I don't know if you can call it little, but they're going out on this journey, and it's soon by the Great Line. I don't even know. And then we see Luffy getting his wanted poster. He defeated Arlong, Buggy, and on Craig, which were all worth a lot. So that's why his bounty is now on 30 million. Then they stop by a town that I literally already forgot the name of, Rogue Town, which is where the last Pirate King died. And he's like, oh my god. And then we see Zoro help this girl that tries to fight some people. And then we see Mihawk, or Hawkeye, whatever we're supposed to call him, give the bounty to Shanks. And then we see, so you're here, Luffy. Oh, my heart, I cannot deal. And then we also see the woman who ran the cafe where Luffy grew up. I the people in his hometown. Windmill Village, it is actually called. See that they got his bounty, and it's he did it. And I'm like, ah! Okay. Now it's chapter 97, which is Kitetsu III. Don't know what that's supposed to be about. I guess we're starting on something new and fun. Let's go. Okay, so we have Nami first trying on some clothes, having fun. Then we have Zoro going out to buy new swords because he only has one. Then he goes into his sword shop, and this dude sees that he has the sword, that he got from Kuina. He knows his worth a lot, and he's just because Zoro doesn't have that much money, and he's trying to scam him to trade the sword to so he can buy other war swords. Then a girl comes in that he saved earlier, so seems to work there, and Zoro thinks that she reminds him of Kuina. But either way, she says that's worth much more, and then they also have some other swords that are apparently cursed. And so it's just reading it, and the dude is no, I can't sell you that because it would be me sending you to your death. But so just reads it fine, and then he's just okay, I guess you can have it for free, but then also gives him his finest sword because he feels bad and didn't realize that he was actually a good swordsman. So now he has 3 swords again, one cursed one of the finest ones the seller had, and obviously the one from Kuina. And that girl helped him, and he was just like, on her. And that's basically what we had. So we are chilling slightly. That was chapter 98, Dark Clouds. A lot of dramatic things are happening. Nami's buying some clothes and Sanji's buying some fish. And then we have Luffy on like the execution scaffold that like the Pirate King was executed on. He's just standing there and be like, oh, it's awful to finally be here. And then this woman shows up that looks very much different from another woman we know. She's just like, I'm gonna get you, ha ha ha. And we're like, who are you? And it turns out that she's Avida. She ate a devil fruit and has like now changed appearances. I don't know when before she used to like say she was beautiful and stuff, and she obviously like had a lot of like she was done. She wasn't really like beautiful, but now she's like really like a typical beauty. So I don't know how I feel about that, but just because like she wasn't like skinny and a certain like body type before doesn't mean that she couldn't have been beautiful. Obviously, I thought she wasn't beautiful before just because she was very like aggressive and angry, but I don't know. We don't need to discuss that right now, but it was just like how now she's like skinny and therefore beautiful, but at the same time she like thought she didn't look any different from before. So I don't know. But either way, turns out that she had teamed up with someone. And who was this? Buggy the Clown. So they are teaming up now, and they are now being, I was going to say, going piratey in the middle of this town. And then also the Navy is obviously called in. We have like White Chased Smoker. So I assume that he is like the Navy quarters there, and he's gonna like go and like try to stop them. And also the girl, by the way, that sort of will not work in the sports store. She just arrived there. She's actually a sergeant in the Navy. So her name is Tashigi, which I would totally forget. And now we are building up this fight in Rogue Town, which is cool because it's like kind of again with the same people we met before, and it's interesting, and I like it. So now we have chapter 99. Luffy died, which obviously I don't want to happen. So let's see what's going on. Okay, so Luffy in this one kind of not gives up, but he's just like, I'm a goner. Luffy is captured in the like execution thing. He's like captured. He's gonna be beheaded by Buggy, and he's like given up. So Sanji and Zoro arrives there and like is gonna save him, while Nami and Usopp goes back to the ship because they're just like, hey, if you don't have a ship, because Nami feels in the air that the storm is coming, and someone actually wants to burn the ship. So it's good that they went there, I think. And then Sanji and Zoro is fighting through the crowd and Buggy's pirates and everything, and Buggy's standing there like, haha, you won't reach him in time. I'm now gonna execute him. And then Luffy laughs. Everyone's like, why is he laughing? Because he's just like, oh, I'm dead. And then the lightning strikes right at the execution beam. So he is free. And then Zoro and Sanji are like, do you believe in a higher power? And then also the chain smoker marine dude is like, there was another person who laughed at that same spot. It was the last Pirate King, and he also laughed and he was gonna die. He accepted his fate and smiled, and he's like, shocking. And now they're running away, trying to escape, because the Marines are obviously after them. He has never let any pirates escape from this island, so he probably will try to not do that now again. I think that covers about what happened. Very fun. Actually, volume 11 is done, and now we're gonna go to volume 12, which is called The Legend Begins. What does that mean? I don't know, but I like to see it. So we're actually on chapter 100 right now, which is called The Legend Begins. And yeah, can't believe I'm on 100 chapters. That's insane. But let's go. Okay, so we are running in the wind, and for a moment the girl Tashigi is stopping Zoro, and she like didn't know he was pirate. Is really mad because she doesn't want great swords to be in the hands of bad man, and Zoro is a bad man because she doesn't like that all swords are like in the hands of bounty hunters and pirates, and she didn't know he was a pirate. She's trying to stop him, and then she's mad that she's a woman. He's like, why don't you hit me because I'm a woman? And he's like, stop, you saying the exactly same thing as my friend who died. And then he like hates her because of this, and now she's going after him. And the other dude, the chain smoker dude, tried to like stop Luffy, but he like got away. Everyone got away. They're running. They went on the ship, and it's in the middle of a storm. And then Buggy and Alvida also going after them, because they're now going to the Grand Line. And in this storm, they're doing like the promise thing on the barrel, which I already seen in the show. I got very emotional. But basically, we have Sanji saying, I'm going to find all blue. Luffy's, I'm going to be the king of the pirates. Zoro, I'm going to be the world's greatest swordsman. Nami, I'm going to draw a map of the world. And Usopp, I'm going to become a brave warrior of the sea. And they all make this promise on this barrel with their feet. And then they say, Grand Line, here we come. And then it says crash right after. So did they crash? I'm not sure. But we will find out in chapter 101, Reverse Mountain. I don't know. Are we done with East Blue now? Because obviously it still says East Blues on this one. But like, I don't know. Are we actually going to the Grand Line? I would assume we would go going to the Grand Line in like volume 50. Not sure. But let's go. So the Starheart crew is sailing on their way, and they need to enter the Grand Line through like up a mountain in a canal or something. I don't actually get it, but I get it. And then they enter like the still place. The others are glad that they're in like a still place, which Nami calls the calm belt. But it turns out that there's no wind there, so they need to row out of there. And then the beasts show up, and they're like super scared because they're just like, oh, can't we like chill here because, well, there's no storm there. And they're like, we don't want to go back into the storm. But then when the beasts show up, they realize why. And then they row into, I was going to say safety. And like the thing they steer with breaks or something. But Luffy uses his abilities to make sure they don't crash. And then they say, oh, I can see it now. I can see the Grand Line. And then the chapter ended. And now we're in chapter 102. And now the Grand Line. Okay, so they enter the Grand Line, but in the way, or they're not actually in it yet, there's a huge whale, and then they're gonna sneak past it, because it hasn't seen it. It's literally just standing there, like huge. It's like huge as a mountain. And then they're sneaking past it, but it accidentally like breaks the ram in front of the ship that Luffy likes to sit on. He gets very upset by this, so he punches him in his eye. So the whale looks at them and then sucks them all in. So everyone gets eaten by the whale except Luffy, who gets very upset. Obviously, he's like, haha, you eat my friends, I need them. Then he sees like a hatch and goes down in it, and there's like a whole corridor inside a whale. Then at the same time, we have like the rest of the Straw Hat crew on the ship, and they're just like, I'm sure we were eaten. What is all this? And they see like an island with a little house inside there. I don't know what's going on. But I'm sure we find out, and they see, oh, someone is coming out of the house. So yeah, the next chapter is called chapter 103, The Whale. Are we in Pinocchio? Okay, so a lot of things are going inside the whale. They meet like a dude, the Straw crew meet like a dude that like is inside, and it seems like he's saying that the whale is banging itself into a wall, and eventually we like, I was gonna say crush his head and die, and I think that he's doing this and that he's mean. They're trying to escape before this escalates more, but doesn't really get to. Where we see Luffy running in these corridors, he meets two like Mitsuru man and woman that are there, and then they all get like, I was gonna say almost thrown into the ship, and it turns out they were the ones trying to make the whale bang his head more so they could take the meat of the whale to feed the village for 2 to 3 years. So they were mean. So Luffy knocked them out. And then the man explains that the reason that he's banging his head at all, he's actually protecting the whale. I don't want him to crush his head. He could ruin like the mountain that separates like the Grand Line. But he doesn't want him to do that. But he's doing it because a few years ago, he took the place of some of his friends. And the whale is like banging his head to get to them. So it's actually quite sad that the whale is suffering. But he can't obviously get to them. And the dude that is like watching over there doesn't think that they will actually come back. So it was sad. It was sad. So the whale is suffering and it's sad. Yeah. Now it's chapter 104, Cape Promise. The whale is waiting for his friends, as I said, and he's been waiting for many, many years, and he's ramming his head into like the wall, and then he's just like, they're never coming back. And now Luffy like attacked him and became his rival, and now promised that he will come back. So hopefully that the whale won't kill himself in meantime. And now there's a plane. And yeah, that's basically it. That was just the whole story. The man escaped with them. I don't know if he's coming with them to be the ship's doctor or something. We shall see. Chapter 105, log post. Okay, so in this one, they are talking about like Grand Line and how a normal compass doesn't work. It like gravitates to each island, because the whole Grand Line is like a bunch of islands, and then there's a lost island that no one has ever reached. It's that why we have 100 volumes of One Piece, because we're gonna go through every single one of these islands. But yeah, they are debating if the One Piece is at a lost island. Nami's getting like the new compass thingy. And then the two pirates that they threw off overboard earlier, that like were the ones that wanted to like make the whale kill himself or whatever. They arrive and like, haha, you can come with us, because they're like begging them to bring them with them, and they're like, haha, we tricked them. I don't think it's gonna go well for them. And yeah, they're leaving now and setting sail. And then like the dude who is watching, who's like with the whale and like, I was gonna say, watching him, says that maybe these pirates are the ones we've been waiting for, because they seem different. Of course they seem different, because they are. And yeah, now it's chapter 106, the town of Welcome. But will it really be welcome? We don't know. We don't know. Okay, so they're entering the Grand Line, and it's suddenly like snowing. It's like wintry, and they're all like, "Well, making a snowman." And then they tell Nami like, "Why are you not like steering?" And she's like, "What do you mean? I just checked a second ago." And then in 1 second, the whole shit had turned around again, because in the Grand Line you can't trust the weather, you can't trust the waves, you can't trust anything. So like you need to basically steer the whole time. The only thing you trust is like the thingy, the log as it is called, and the log need to like find out where they are in the ocean, and then they log the island before they can go to the next one, which means that on every island they can stay for a few hours or a few days, and then they can be potentially be monsters there. So they arrive at this cactus island actually, and then the two people that helped, which are called Mrs. Wednesday and Mr. Nine, jump off, and then they're now in the town of Welcome, and they are like, "Oh, let's host a party for them. Oh my god, you guys are pirates," and they're like, "Yay!" But I don't actually think that they are yay, but they are idiots and believe this. Usopp, Sanji, and Luffy believes this, but it seems like Zoro and Nami are more skeptical. And now we have chapter 107, Moonlight and Tombstones. I love it. Okay, so they obviously made them all drink themselves into a stupor, and they all like pass out. And then it turns out that they're all bounty hunters. They are the Society of Barku Works. I don't really know how to pronounce it. And then suddenly Zoro is awake and it's like, "A true swordsman never drinks himself into a stupor. I know who you are. You are bounty hunters Barku Works." And they're like, how do you know us? And he's like, "I was once asked to join your society. I know you." And then he like jumps down and is gonna like fight them, and it's kicking ass to say, but it stops really fast. But they're all like shocked. Turns out they are all bounty hunters, and they're really shocked that Luffy is worth like 100 million berries. But that's the first island a lot of pirates go to. So like I guess a lot of pirates have stopped there as well. And now we are on chapter 108, which is the last one in this volume, which is 100 Bounty Hunters. And now I am finished with volume 12, and also finished with East Blue. But East Blue finished a while back, and basically this whole chapter is just Zoro kicking ass. He's running around in this whole island, and everyone is trying to take him, and he just takes everyone. And it was this big, huge person that was super strong, and then he just held her back with his one hand. And I'm like, Zoro, why are you like this? Why do I love him more than life? I want to die for him. But yeah, that's basically how it ends. And I love them, and I love the story, and I'm so emotionally attached. I love them so much. Actually, here it says the different arcs and how long they are. It says East Blue was volume 1 to 12. But, I mean, I feel like this wasn't really East Blue anymore, but apparently. Then there's Barku Works, which is 12 to 24, which is also 12 volumes. It's got Pairwise 24 to 32, again, 12 volumes, 32 to 46. Is everything 12 volumes? No, because Thriller Bark is only 4 volumes. Saboni is only 4 volumes, and Impel Down is only 2 volumes. I accidentally read like one sentence of a synopsis of one of the arcs, and I just forget I read that. What did I read? It doesn't matter. But I cannot believe that he's going on this journey. I like don't know honestly what's gonna happen. It's so chaotic, so weird. The characters are amazing. How we care about them, how we care about these people, and just like the journey itself. I love a journey story. I love pirates. I love a found family. It has all the tropes that I love, and honestly having the best time ever. I cannot wait to continue. I'm so sad that I don't have the next volume. I ordered it, but it's not here yet. And honestly, just the best time. Leave a cactus emoji down below if you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy me on my One Piece journey. I will post videos reading them. I will continue the journey. You should see me soon in a new one. I don't really have any more thoughts. I'm just really curious to see what will happen, and I don't think that I could ever predict it. Just that I know one spoiler about Luffy because of the show gets introduced that so early. So like when it is revealed, I will be like, oh yeah, would you do that? But I'll pretend I don't know. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. You should see me soon in a new video, and goodbye.